Yes, you made it. So now we're on day 3 of the Financial Setup Challenge. And as you know, my name is Elizabeth Booker. I'm your support through this 7 days challenge. Today we will be talking about your emergency fund. And today's title is the Emergency Escape Plan. So bring out your workbooks. Let's go through the reflection questions and the to-do tasks, and let's get started. So this is the workbook which you should have, and if you don't have it, you can download it in just where you pick in the email that you received. So as we go through the workbook, we see that day 3 is all about our emergency escape plan. So let's scroll down to section 3 and get started. So first question, how secure do you feel about your financial situation in case of unexpected expenses? Having an emergency fund is so important because if something unexpected happens, which they tend to do from time to time, we are not worried about going into debt to be able to sort that thing out. We can go into the specified pot. Now, emergency funds are for emergencies. They're not for birthdays or Christmas or celebration gifts, especially ones that always have a 12-month warning. Birthdays happen every year. Christmas happens every year. So this is not what your emergency fund is for, right? It's not for stuff that you can expect. It's for the unexpected. It's for the boiler breaking down unexpectedly. It's for your car breaking down unexpectedly and you needed to change a tire on the spot. It's for anything that is not expected. And the next thing I want you to do is reflect on instances where your emergency fund could have provided peace of mind. You were stuck in a situation where you really needed money. And if you had that extra amount of money, maybe it's £1,000, £500, £2,000, it would have helped you. And then there's some more questions there under questions 2 about being aware of your spending patterns, being aware of your essential costs. So go through them and make sure you make notes in the notes section. Then number 3 is a very big one. We need to think about risks in our lives, not to life. No, so I'm not talking about death, but I'm talking about job instability. Sometimes people lose jobs. Do you have something that covers you in that space? Health emergencies. Do you have something that can support you if you really needed, to go to if you had a health emergency that you needed to sort out immediately? So it's just about reflecting about challenging times. And then question number 4 is reflecting on your comfort level with financial uncertainty. Now, if you are very comfortable with the stress that comes with something going wrong and you don't have enough money, you have to start calling people and asking for help from other people, which is okay. But if you're very comfortable with that pattern repeating itself, then book a call because there may be something going on underneath that is stopping you from building up savings and building up an emergency fund. Then think about what type of financial goals could your emergency fund help you achieve, right? So if you have, and it depends on your goals, and we talked about goals yesterday. So if you set your goals, if you have one of your goals to be not going back into debt, for example, one of your goals being staying debt free, could your emergency fund help you achieve that? So that if something happens that you really need a credit card to take care of, you have the money to pay it back. Now, I'm not saying that you can't use your credit card. I know people use their credit card sometimes for to get points, but are you able to pay back immediately? So your action plan is to establish and build up your emergency fund for unexpected expenses. Aim for at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in a cash amount. in a cash account. What does that mean? Your living expenses are the thing, are the amounts you need to live. And when we talk about spending tomorrow, you'll get a clearer picture of what your living expenses are. So these are the things that you need for your shelter, your food, your transportation, and your groceries, your utilities and your utilities. So those 4 areas: shelter, utilities, food, transportation. How much does that cost you on a daily basis? Those are the things that you need to live, right? You don't need any like Sky subscriptions to live. You don't need Netflix to live. So we can ignore those bills. So if you calculate that your living expenses, the amount of money you need to live, your current lifestyle is about £1,000 a month, then you can aim for 3,000 to 6,000 worth of in your emergency fund account. I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, please send an email. So now your to-do checklist is list your monthly living expenses, so that you know how much you want to save as a target for your emergency fund. Compare your monthly income to your essential expenses. You want to know, is everything I'm making going out on my essential expenses, or is there some wiggle room? Reflect on if there's a surplus or deficit. Exactly. So that's if there's a wiggle room. If everything is coming in, isn't going out on expenses, then there's some wiggle room. Then you can now determine how much you can allocate towards your emergency fund. If there's a little bit of wiggle room, maybe you can only allocate a little bit. If there's a bit more, you may be able to do more. Now, contribute a fixed amount to your emergency fund each month. Then set up an automatic transfer to separate this particular savings into a separate savings account each month. Now, if you follow this checklist and you do these steps, you will build, even if you haven't been able to save in the past, you will see that starting from the next month, you will have built up an emergency fund and you will keep building it up. It is a no-fail, it's fail-proof, I will say. If you follow this checklist, it is absolutely fail-proof. If you have any notes, you can write your notes here. And I will see you tomorrow. Good luck.